Hi, I've been doing this channel now for 10 years, since April 22nd, 2015. I don't know if that's when I created the channel or if it's when I made my first video. I imagine it's probably when I created it. So I'm going to give you a brief history of what the channel was and what it now is, from evolving from Teller Creations to Collector Creations in about what, 2022 or July 2022 I changed the name. My god, was that a good choice. That was the best thing that I've ever done to this channel, was change the goddamn title. Anyway, so I'm going to explain all that kind of stuff, so if you want to learn about the history of the channel, then please stick around. Alternatively, there will also be a montage video of random clips from random videos over the past 10 years, which is going to be very strange for a lot of you who have no idea what the fuck I did prior to, like, 2022. That will include clips from some short films I made, mostly in high school and university, some podcasts I did. I did it before it was something that everyone did. And I did it badly. And it was on video. It wasn't even an audio thing. I did an audio drama. And there's other things. I eventually did more of that interview show, and which was initially a let's talk about adulthood, because we're 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids. We need to learn about what it's like to be an adult. And now I just interview people because I find them to be interesting. And thank God, because it's much more interesting to talk about someone's life than adulthood. Yeah, so that was a good decision as well. And eventually, I don't even know how I got into it. It started as collection videos for, like, oh, look, I've got Blade Runner collection, or I've got, a lot of these movies, and I would occasionally talk about movies as well, because I was buying a lot more movies, buying a lot more Blu-rays, doing film reviews and stuff. I really did not cement what the hell the channel was for a long time. Initially, it was it's my media channel, because I had a gaming channel. Before all this, I had a channel called 8-Bit Machine, and I used to do video game Let's Plays. Oh boy, that was a bad idea. So anyway, I evolved from that. I don't do that anymore. Clearly, I hardly play video games anymore. I'd say I'm an adult, but I feel like that would actually offend people, because that's a bad joke. Video games are for everyone. Fuck what other people say. Video games are for everyone. And, people enjoy that instead of movies. My brother is like that. He plays video games. He doesn't watch movies that often. I don't even know when I started doing what I do now. Like, what I do now for physical media examinations and talking about Blu-rays and talking about the state of physical media was mostly a thing I started doing around 2022, 2023, by the time I changed the title of my channel, which initially was actually another channel I was doing on collecting figurines, and then I stopped doing that because I realized that's a great name, but I want it to be the channel name for Teller Creations, because Teller Creations is not something that rolls off the tongue. It's not something that makes any sense. What the fuck is it? Teller is a character from a fucking series I did in high school. A audio drama called Are We Alive, which was a 20-episode audio drama, 2 seasons, and I think a special as well. It was highly inspired by Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That was my big... I loved that kind of stuff. Welcome to Night Vale, Hitchhiker's Guide. I really loved that stuff in high school. So when I said it was a podcast, a lot of people thought it was just people talking in a room into a microphone at each other. But no, that was the Mindless Show. That's something I did, like, later on, but still in high school. So Are We Alive was what kicked off the channel. I was doing that whilst I was working on Don't Starve, which was my short film for my 2015 short film when I did Year 11 media. And by the end of 2015, that film came out, and I had a couple episodes of Are We Alive, because I was basically just doing them as they went along. Like, I would write a lot of them, and then when we had the chance, I'd record them, and that was mostly just in the recording studio at school, because they had a really good recording studio at school. But I could never get everyone in the room at the same time, which is what I wanted to do, but you couldn't always do that. So it was just, I would record people for doing several episodes at a time and just edit it together. I can't say it was bad, but I can't say it was good either. Re-listen to a lot of it. My god, the mixing is terrible. The music is way too fucking loud. Most of it royalty free or made by my friends, because some of my friends made music. That's the music for, like, the main theme and for, like, the Mindless Show were all made by friends of mine in high school. So that was like the first, I'd say 2015 through to 2018, that was basically what the channel was. It was occasional video essays, because I did that for uni and for high school. It was me reviewing films, and it was making films. So I wanted to be making films and talking about films. That's kind of what I do now, but mine is more talking about films as physical media, and making films is not a thing I do anymore. Which sucks. I like making films, I just don't do it anymore. So basically cut to 2017, I'm in university. I've done I did 3 seasons of The Mindless Show in those years. And then by university, I either did the 3rd season or I did the rest of it. I can't remember how it went about. Because some of, like, season 3 had friends from university, but it also had high school friends. I can't remember how it went. Either way, the rest of it was season 4. It was a stupid thing. Because I'd ended the show. It was done. It was a 50-episode thing. It was done. I even did mini topics as well. It was done. And then we did the rest of it because I'm like, fuck it, I still enjoy doing this show. I want to have a narrative now. And that was, again, film schooly of me. So, very pretentious. But I had some fun episodes in there. Again, I got lapel microphones, so the audio quality was a lot better, but still not great, because most of it was just through the camera. Like, basically the same oh my god, I've been using the same camera for fucking 10 years now. I was using school cameras initially, but then I got this one for my birthday in 2015. I've been using this exact same tripod and camera for 10 years this October. That's fucking that's mental. Holy shit. And the camera still works. I've had no issues with it at all. You know, I've bought a bigger battery and some extra SD cards, and the battery was just because I went to Japan in 2019. But 2017, 18, 19, and 20, and even 21, my university years, outside of going to Japan and still filming some episodes of The Mindless Show to wrap up whatever, the rest of it, including my favorite one. If you watch the montage, it will include clips from the first ever episode, the first episode of the rest of it, comedy, which is basically just me and my primary school friends, one of whom we didn't see again after that episode was recorded. We just never saw him again. Once university kind of kicked in for him, he was gone. He'd studied science. So, yeah, it takes a lot of your time. Anyway, a couple episodes into that, I did the morning show edition, which was inspired by Get Crackin', which is I'll put a poster there. There's also the catering show. It was mostly the catering show in terms of style, but no, it was both. It was definitely Get Crackin'. I loved those shows in those years. I'm pretty sure the two Kates have gone on to do other stuff that I have not seen at all, which sucks because I really liked those. I have them on DVD. They're fucking amazing. Yeah, so the morning show one, again, a lot of it is, if you watch Get Crackin', if you ever see an episode, you'll see where the homages come from. And I rewatching it, at least parts of it, but kind of ended up being a lot of it because I skimmed through a lot of the episode and then kind of just rewatched a lot of it. I really loved that episode. I think of all the things I've ever filmed, that's like my favorite thing that I've ever filmed. It has me behind the camera doing some fun stuff, in front of the camera doing a lot of the stuff because it was a talk show. I was the host because ego. And my friend Lewis at the time, he was the co-host, and we had a lot of silly names. Everyone had a name that was not like their actual own, except for one of them who's just had a different spelling to their own name, which is because he hated the idea. Anyway, it made it more fun for me. Look, we've all got these stupid names because we're children. Well, we're teenagers, but still, young adults. Nevertheless, Lewis and I had like a great repertoire in that episode. Like, he knew exactly what I was going for the whole episode, and he was able to play along with it perfectly, and I loved that. Our friend Zach jumped in to do a hypnosis segment, which was great because it allowed me to do a surrealist dream sequence. Back when I used Camtasia Studio for my editing, and my god, I loved that program. Camtasia Studio was so much fucking better than Premiere Pro is. Premiere Pro is like a better program if you know how to use it, but Camtasia was just so effective, and I could do so many things with so much ease. I never had a stress about that program, except for when it crashed. It crashed a lot. You could really overpower that fucking program. It was not great in terms of processing. But nevertheless, a a lot of those videos also filmed in 720p. I did not start using 1080 until I basically went to Japan in 2019, because that's when I was like, I guess I can start filming in 1080p now. Some of it I had filmed in 1080p. Luckily, my original short film was in 1080p. A lot of it I've had to expand for the actual montage video, which is ridiculous. But yeah, for the first 4 years, I was not filming in 1080 because I'm like, who needs 1080 realistically? That was a mistake. But it like made videos a lot easier to edit and smaller and everything. It was just stupid of me. Nevertheless, I've learned from that now. Obviously, I film in 1080. I don't film in 4K because I'm good. I'm not that attractive. And yeah, so until 2019, that was basically it. Like the morning show, I loved doing. Everything else was great. Again, I wanted to do surreal kind of films, so I did a lot of weird short films like that. In the meantime, I really just loved that morning show episode. Lewis did a musical number at the end, which is great. Lachlan, who has contributed to a lot of my videos, including a series called Lachlan Reviews, he was in that episode as well, doing two different things. He was a correspondent, like, on location, which was in Sunshine. We went to the dodgiest fucking suburb of Sunshine because it's got such a beautiful name. Or at least a name that means something more than it actually is. And, you know, we riffed on that element. But it had one nice location, which was a park, and that's where we filmed, like, most of the video. But the rest of it was just in a parking lot, just right next to, like, the train station. The place looked like fucking shit, and it was perfect. And it was an overcast day, and this is the halfway point between where we both lived. So it was just, it worked really well. But I really loved that video. But aside from that, of everything pre the trip to Japan, that's about it in terms of what I think of fondly. You know, my initial short film, Don't Starve, I do still like that I made it, and there's a lot of, you know, blood, sweat, and tears put into that film, but holy shit, there was still so much I needed to learn, which I did not apply to basically any other film I ever made, except for The Adventure, which was a university film. The rest of the films I made, which were either just stuff I did because I could, I just wanted to film crap. My second film for high school, my year 12 film, was shit. It's okay in theory, but it was called Nuclear Revolver. It was meant to be a analysis of Earth destroyed itself for nuclear annihilation, because I was really big into that in year 12. We were studying mutually assured destruction in history class and everything. I'm like, this is cool, I want to make a film about this, but I also want to make it about the universe I'm making as an audio drama, because again, Teller Creations, Teller is a character, he narrates Are We Alive, and he's a character in that movie. Guess who voices him with a bad American accent? So that was, again, the reason for Teller Creations. That's because Teller created. But he also was just an observant storyteller. He would see sequences of history like a film and talk about it or something. I really should have done podcasts as him. That would have been awful. But they could have done it. But that's what that Nuclear Revolver film was. That was a bad idea. That was like a 20-page script, and everyone in class was like, that's too long. It's meant to be a 10-minute film, and you're putting in too much. And I filmed half of the film. More than half, I filmed the whole segment in a green screen room that I did not edit at all. I even had a friend do makeup for it and turned our teacher, one of our teachers, into a zombie. She had a whole, like, 50s wardrobe and everything. She looked great. I still have that footage, and I've just never used it, because I'm like, that's alright. I'll end up doing a full cut of the film, and I'll film extra clips with my other friends on the green screen. I'll do this whole thing that's meant to be, like, a parallel of them in this 50s style world, and, like, that kind of mentality, and then it cuts to, like, the actual nuclear annihilated Earth future that they're actually in, and all those, like, 50s values get turned on their head. It was smart on its own regard. Like, it wasn't a dumb film. It was just poorly executed. Those extra bits would have really juiced up the film a bit, but it just never happened. So, yeah. But the rest of the films I did, aside from The Adventure, were just random things I did myself. I did like the one I did called Queer. That was nice. But yeah, The Adventure was one I did for uni, which was one where I got someone to design these animated creatures, and I'm in pajamas the whole fucking time because I'm meant to be asleep. It's this whole dream sequence adventure where I basically fight through boss battles like it's a video game, side-scrolling and everything. It was interesting. I really still like the film. It's very strange, but I think it works. It's also got that stupid thing where it's like, oh, I'm really over-explaining this stuff. You guys don't give a shit about this. But I did an element of that film where I had to narrate what was happening, and I did it in the style of the original Blade Runner, like the theatrical cut where, you know, Harrison Ford did not want to do a narration, and then he was forced to, so he did it in as dry way possible, and that was what I was doing for that exact bit for that film. I don't know if anyone got that reference, but yeah, not a good idea. Anyway, cut to post 2019, post me watching 500 movies in 1 year and having probably the best year I've ever experienced in my whole entire fucking life, and you know, going to Japan and everything. There will be footage from my Japan supercut in there as well. I eventually, again, was still doing uni. I don't know what the fuck I was doing video-wise. I could look at those videos and be like, I don't remember what any of this stuff was about. A lot of it is the kind of topics I've actually discussed since then in greater detail. Again, talking about physical media, talking about the state of cinema and the state of media and all this kind of stuff. And it's ideas that I've actually occasionally, but very rarely, recycled because the video did fuck all for views initially. 5 to 7 years ago or whatever, and I'm like, I can just repurpose that video because it got hardly any views, it's got a good concept, I can execute it better this time, so I do it again. And then sometimes it gets a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 of views, and I'm like, that was a great idea, I should do that more often. But I just don't. But I could. But I don't. But that's the problem with having 10 years worth of a catalogue, is I could just redo videos that I've already done. In 1 year, I did the same video 3 different times, and it wasn't until the 3rd time that it hit its audience. And I was like, good, because that's the one where I've actually figured out what the fuck I was saying, and it works better. Because I'm not good at making these videos. I will just stand here and ramble for however long and edit it together and hope to God it works. Sometimes there's an idea behind the video. Usually there is. But sometimes I don't develop the idea enough because I don't write anything. I'm not good at reading off of something. I'd have to literally have my phone in front of me and be reading from that, and no one would like that. Unless I just cut my face out of it completely and just did video clips of stuff. But what the fuck would I do video clips of? That's more work. Anyway, post-2020, the channel has ended up becoming more of what you see now. You know, I was in this house with this shelf and just talking about physical media. The biggest differences throughout these years is just my hair. Obviously. You look at my videos from 10 years ago, I had a full head of hair and really bad facial hair. Patchy, awful. I don't know why I didn't just shave all the goddamn time. But, you know, when you're a teenager, you think it looks cool. I was wrong. Occasionally, if I grew it out very long during the winter, it would occasionally look okay. But I used to have hair. More than this. It used to be blonde as well. I grew up blonde. Isn't that insane? It wasn't until like late high school that I became a brunette. And I know because I did Italian for like 7 years. Actually, I did it for a lot longer. I did it in primary school as well. But each year, I would eventually, you have to do an introduction thing, and I would describe myself. And of course, I described my hair as being blonde. Eventually, it wasn't blonde anymore, so I had to say that my hair was now brunette, and that was annoying. Anyway, throughout those videos, you can occasionally see a bald spot appearing, because that's how hair works sometimes. None of this here, I'm very self-conscious about this, but this stuff here was there fully until about 2020. I think roughly around that year, my hair started to fall out. I haven't looked for any of those videos for it because I don't really want to. I just know that I did have... I mean, look, I still had some bad haircuts in the day, but when you have hair, you're allowed to have a bad haircut day, and trust me, for a lot of those videos, even the one I did for comedy that's in the montage, I got a bad haircut in that video. But some of the other videos, I got better haircuts, just bad facial hair. That's changed. My God, my facial hairstyles have changed so much, from full beard, very long beard, the goatee, just a bad moustache. I can't believe I'm including footage of my bad moustache in this. Oh my God, in that montage. I had purple hair at one stage. That was a fun October where I dyed my hair purple. It eventually went white and blue back when I had hair. That wasn't what killed it. I just started shaving it a lot. I'm only not now because I'm just testing out for the next couple months to see how much of it can grow back. Also, it's winter in Australia. I kind of need to grow the hair back because I film outside and it's fucking cold. I know I can wear a beanie, but it just helps if I'm wearing a cap and like have the hair. It makes me less cold. So, yeah. Anyway, it's survival. It's not just for looks, even though I hate this so much. But I like the beard. Nevertheless, yeah, by 2022, July, because I don't really even remember much of what happened between 2020 and 2022. Most of it, I was still doing Blu-ray stuff occasionally, but I was still doing this and that. I was doing actor reviews, which some of them have proved to be very popular. One of them, which was my, I think, 500 subscriber special, maybe, it might have been less than that, which was one on Vin Diesel, of all actors, has since grown to almost 1,000 views, and has, for the first 3 years, fuck all for views, and then eventually, bam, skyrocketed for like a year straight. I'm like, what? At like May of like 2024, it just skyrocketed, and I have no idea why. It still does well, I don't know. There's a lot of videos like that where I'm like, what the fuck? But yeah, I would just have random series like that. Oh, I'm going to watch a series of films. Let's do a video on it. The Child's Play films, the Nightmare on Elm Street films, the Halloween films, the Universal Monster films. You know, I've done a lot of that kind of stuff with film reviews. But yeah, once I hit to changing the channel to becoming Collector Creations, things really started to fly. I think because people realized Collector Creations, oh, he likes collecting. Fucking clearly, as well as figurines and stuff. And that's what the channel became. It became, I'm spending a lot of my money on Blu-rays and figurines. And especially after the pandemic, I was doing that a lot. Coping from not going out and like seeing friends and doing anything exciting, I would buy a lot of figurines and Blu-rays. So fucking many. Looking at it now, yeah, that was a bad coping mechanism, but at the same time, I have a lot of fucking out-of-print Blu-rays now because of that coping mechanism. And I've sold a lot of, like, the figurines and stuff since. Like, sometimes I still keep a lot. There's a whole variety of stuff. So I've still, you know, sold it to make money to buy more stuff. That's how you fuel an addiction, kids. Just buy something, sell it a year later for more money or less, I don't know, and then use that to buy more stuff. Is that what they do with drugs these days? I don't fucking know. Yeah, so once 2022 hit, by July, I changed the name of the channel to Collector Creations. And in this time, especially since 2019, my partner who's a graphic designer, she has a master's degree in graphic design, she actually taught me how to do better thumbnails. Now, stylistically, I've been trying to do the exact same thumbnails for a while now. Occasionally, I'll change it up with the color or the background or whatever, but you usually know which videos are mine because I got that shitty thumbnail. I never put myself in the thumbnail. Not really anymore. I still try to, but that was me when I had hair. Crazy. That was like a year and a half ago, and those photos I still use to be like... Was it even a year and a half ago? I think it was just a year ago. Yeah. I don't know. There's not much I can say about that. There's so much shit. But still, she taught me how to do better thumbnail designs, and if I ever needed help, I could ask her. But yeah, she helped me to design the current logo, which was still based on the Telecreations logo of the old, like, staticky TV or the weird, you know, off signal when, you know, there's nothing playing. It's just got that image there. I'll try to include something. And I eventually evolved it into Collector Creations because that was a sister channel I was making, and it was doing well view-wise, but I'm like, I like the name of Collector Creations. I'm going to just steal that from myself and change this channel. And I've looked at the old video of me talking about the new channel name and everything, and that got like 30, 40 views. It didn't do well view-wise. Like, it wasn't a huge thing. It wasn't a big, impactful thing. But the turnaround was everyone started... I feel like from there it became a lot more obvious as to what I was doing. Once I did that video talking about like the death of physical media, and I was like how Disney was leaving Australia, that's also when things started to blow up, and I think that was 2023. Like, that video did fucking wonders, and suddenly I was getting a huge influx of subscribers. I was still at like less than 500 subscribers. I think I was at 200 subscribers by 2023. So yes, for like how many years was that? 7, 8 years? I was still on a very, very minute amount of subscribers and just still making videos weekly. I was making like 3 videos a week. It got so bad, I had complete burnout and just quit. And then came back about a month later and was like, alright, I'm going to still do this, but I'm only going to do 2 videos a week. And most of those 2 videos a week was a mail haul at the start of the week and whatever else I'd filmed a while earlier in the middle of the week. And that got so bad that I had a huge accumulation of videos that was just me doing mail videos. That I had to just do one whole week where every single video was just a mail video. Like, I literally, someone who, it's Adrian, who's the guy who runs the JB page on Facebook, like one of the pages I'm on, who has been subscribed to me for a while now. He literally was like, dude, what the fuck is happening with all these videos? They're so backdated, you gotta fix this shit up. I'm like, you're right, I'm just gonna publish them all in 1 week, fuck it. That was a time. So anyway, that was also because I was spending too much money. I have a bad savings account. Anyway, yeah, so things evolved. I changed the channel, focused on doing physical media, and talking from an Australian perspective, especially as a local thing, that really worked out. Like, I got more of a local audience. The international audience was mostly from the US and the UK. They still are. I've got other countries that occasionally I'll see, someone from Thailand or someone from Brazil or someone from somewhere in Europe has watched your video. I'm like, okay, cool. I still get those statistics occasionally, which is interesting, especially for someone like me who's a sometimes fast-talking Australian. And yeah, then Ken from Mid-Level Media did a interview with me, which is his first international podcast of talking to a collector outside of America. I don't know if that did well for me in terms of numbers, but at least it made me realize I could be part of a bigger community in terms of, like, just as a physical media collector in general. Like, people know me as the physical media collector in my day-to-day life, but to have an international audience see me as that as well is interesting. That became its own stress, because it's like, great, now I got to keep buying physical media and then talking about it, but I was buying so much and I wasn't talking enough about it, and then it was just compensation of, I don't have the time to talk about the physical media, so I'm just going to keep buying physical media, and no one's going to question the fact that, Julian, what the fuck are you doing? I don't need to have a mental breakdown, I have one every fucking Friday. So, yeah, that became a thing, but the channel grew from there, and I became a lot more known even in my own personal circles. By that stage, I was going to the Cinemaniacs a lot. That's the film group I go to. The film group that I am now a board member of as of the end of 2024. And, that was a whole thing, because I've done videos talking about that in the past, obviously. The Cinemaniacs, it's a group I've been going to since 2018, because I'd met Lee back in May of 2018. And for 6 long years, I was going infrequently, but then basically by 2022, going quite frequently, to almost every single session that I could go to from like midway through 2022 onwards, if I'm not mistaken. And that was great, that it was just nice to have a film community to be part of, but eventually it became I actually started to meet people, and me and my partner were going more often. We met Phil and Katie, and yeah, because most of the time I was just there for Lee. And he was very, very sociable with so many people that I wasn't there for long enough because he was so sociable with everyone else. Because he knew so many people. And yeah, like, I was still doing that interview show by this stage. Like, by university, I was interviewing random people, mostly people who were like teachers of mine from university, and stuff like that. And most of that wasn't for like the views. That's like the passion project. I really like interviewing people, and it's just nice to even just sit down and have a conversation with this person. And if it did for views, yay. But like, this was also a channel that had like less than 500 subscribers for a long time. Even when I did my interview with Lee, I still only had like 100 odd subscribers. It was not a lot. And yet he was very willing to give me his time. And like, that was wonderful. And that wasn't a video that did well initially. It did well when he died. Fucking took off after that. which is nice. But again, I'm not really looking at a lot of those videos for like the view count, you know? Like there are interviews I love, like I did one with Freya, which was animated and like kind of animated. She drew herself and me, and then this other stuff added on top. And that only got like 40 odd views. Like that didn't do well. But I still like that I did it. You know, I've done interviews with other Cinemaniacs board members, with filmmaker Matthew Holmes as well. So some of those clips will be in the actual the montage as well. But yeah, so you know, I did one with John, did one with Caitlin, and I've just garnered better friendships with these people because of it. And I just really like doing those interviews, and I should do more of them. I mean, the last one I did was with John, and that was in April of 2024. So yeah, that's the stuff I really like doing, because after that it's basically just been, again, Blu-ray reviews, occasional talking about filmmakers or actors or whatever, you know, the constant, look, I've got all these Blu-rays, let's do unboxings, all that kind of stuff. The variation of videos I've had is so much so that I can't even remember half of the stuff that I've done in the past. I used to do, like, premium steelbook unboxings. I don't do any of that shit anymore, you know, because it's mostly expensive, and also I just didn't really do much for me. Like, even for the views, it didn't do well subscriber-wise. And a lot of the channel, at that stage, even especially by the time I did my interview with Lee, it was all about longevity. Like, can these videos stand a long time? So even if they only get like 2 or 3 views in the first month, by 6 months to a year later, oh wow, that got 100 views. That's great. Good job, me. And that's how a lot of my videos have been. Like, I've always looked at them that way, that, like, they don't do well initially, and it doesn't matter, because give it a couple months, give it a couple years, and they'll grow. Sometimes. Trust me, not all of them. A lot of the videos I've made have still only got 2 or 3 views. It's pretty awful, as someone who wants to look at it that way, and kind of has to because it's YouTube. You know, there's likes and dislikes and comments, but it's always just the views. If it's not, and the problem is obviously views is the least reliable factor because it's the least personable. Views can just be 3 seconds and then bam, that's a view. Like is someone actually liking the video. Dislike is someone disliking the video. Why do they like it? Why do they dislike it? Fucked if I know. Sometimes they just comment and also say that they like it, but they don't actually like the video, like click the like button. I know it's all for algorithmic shit. Even comments are for algorithmic shit, and I'll still delete comments that I just think are just fucking stupid. Because trust me, I occasionally get that stupid commenter. It's not rare when you do YouTube a lot of the time. But my favourite things that I've been doing have been that interview show, occasional short films, but again, haven't had enough time to do any of that stuff. And I still think of short films as something that's no budget, me with a camcorder, and basically no real fucking value. Like, I have friends who make short films, and their short films have production crews and teams, and the kind of stuff where if I was still in uni, that would be a different group of my friends doing that, and they would have, like, everyone would be assigned to a job. I had to do that at one stage. We did a documentary at one point in my university course. I was the cameraman, and that was all my job was. Film. I was not good at that. I was able to point and shoot, but I didn't get much B-roll, and that was bad. Should have done a lot more of that. I was very... Fuck, we're all egotistical back then. We're goddamn uni students. You know, everyone had their job and stuff, and that was like the most professional crew I've been on. And that was a bunch of uni students. I know people who have been in professional fucking sets. My friend Caitlin is a fucking filmmaker. Like, she's been on a professional set in the US with professional actors who've been working for longer than I've been alive. So it's fucking mental that that's a thing. And I look at my short films like it's just me and a camera and maybe a couple of high school friends or a couple of uni friends, and that's about it, you know. And then I look at other people's short films, I'm like, man, that's a fucking proper short film. Mine is so amateur. That's what I should use. Amateur. Very, very, very amateur filmmaker. And I will probably remain that way because I'm just probably never going to make a film again. Which sucks, because I would always love to make a feature film, but I would be bad at it. Because I don't have the experience, even through watching every single movie I've watched. Film critic, on the other hand, sure. But that's kind of its own, you know, can of worms. It's nice to have a catalogue of these videos to at least show myself how I've changed over the years, both as someone who makes videos and someone who looks different. You know, from having a head full of hair and a shitty beard to no hair or purple hair and a better beard or just too much facial hair. It really depends on the fucking video. It's nice to kind of see that kind of stuff and to reflect on it and be like, wow, I was so different. You know, different glasses, different t-shirts, different locations, different lighting settings, different audio settings, so many different things, and so many variations of what I've done and who I've been over these years. And I've still garnered quite a lot of stuff from it. Like, sure, it took me a very long time to figure out that my niche was physical media. I wanted it to be short films, and that was just not it. But physical media is a good niche, because I have a lot of it, and I like talking about it, and I like collecting it. Very clearly. I have an unboxing right in front of me from one of my latest mail hauls, just in front of me, because I just filmed that. And I still want to do more videos like that interview show, because I really like doing that. Whether they do well or not view-wise, I don't care, because those ones is just me and someone sitting down for a while. And once Lee died, I hadn't valued those videos as highly as I do now, because now I have that. I have those videos, I have those conversations I have with people, and I like that. And it's not just me sitting there asking a question, listening to an answer, and then asking another question. I converse with these people, and that's what I really like about it. That's actually why Lee referred to it as a podcast, because it's just me and him chatting, but I'm asking him questions about him. And occasionally the subject I would be able to relate to myself. And I just love that I have that kind of stuff, you know? My eventual kind of bigger connection with the Cinemaniacs for even just the simple what is the Cinemaniacs video, getting Blu-ray hauls from them, all kinds of stuff, has been really nice, you know? I've got a film community I'm part of now. That's such a core aspect of what I am that I didn't expect it would ever be a core aspect of what I am. And I really like that. Unfortunately, on the occasion, when I'm meeting new people at the Cinemaniacs, even just recently we had a screening, and I was introduced to one of Caitlin's American friends, and she's someone who's an artist and has so much obvious fucking talent, and she was talking to me and a guy called Khan, and Khan, love Khan, film critic, great guy. I was like, well, I'm the egotistical one, he's the film critic. And that's meant to be a joke, because you think the film critics are the egotistical one. But then I laid down how I was a YouTuber. I'm like, oh fuck, it's so bad. I don't like being called a YouTuber. I can't take this job seriously. I stand in front of a fucking camera and talk about shit. I don't take it seriously, you know? I will still get comments that are way too serious, or just whatever. But I like the community aspect of the comments. That's always nice. It took years before I got comments. Occasionally I'll get comments. I got one recently where the person said thirst. And do you know how old the video was? 6 years old. And I'm just like, good for you, buddy. Like, nobody fucking cares. I had one of my most popular videos for the longest time, outside of the video essay I did for The Office, which was hugely popular because it's a video essay about The Office. Of course it was going to be popular. I still kind of hate that that's so popular. It's always the ones that you don't want to be the most popular that are the most popular. One of my most popular ones for a long time was one of my first ever actor reviews on Masami Nagasawa, who's a Japanese actress. Basically, I watched a film of hers on the flight to Japan, watched one in the cinema, realized, hey, this is the same chick. On the way home, saw another of her films, which I've since bought the Blu-ray of, and the film we watched was The Confidence Man, and I realized, shit, she's in a bunch of movies I have. She's in Your Name, she's a voice actor in that, she's in 2 Godzilla films, so I was able to watch a bunch of the films that she's in because I happen to have them, and that video did fucking wonders. It still does well today, and like, I wouldn't say likes, but definitely in terms of views. And I got a comment on that years later, just saying, I love Masami, she's great. And that was it. I'm like, I love it. That's it. Years in with no fucking reception like that, and then suddenly one comment is just like, I love this girl, she's great. And that's it. I'm like, cool. I love it. So, you know, as someone who's been doing this for so long, and I've still had my preferences and what I like and what I dislike, and trust me, I get tired a lot. You know, I took October off in 2024 because I was just tired. I'm just like, I just need time to fucking breathe. And yeah, eventually it got to the stage where I'm just still doing what I do now. You know, I don't know how much of this I want to continue doing, because obviously I need to not be buying physical media all the time. I think I'd even written down 3 types of videos I want to do, which would be that interview show, because I really want to become more passionate about that, especially after listening to my interview of Lee again, and him saying how a lot of interviewers don't go out of their way to just interview people, even if it's just to reach out and get nothing back. You reach out, and that's the best you can hope for, because you've put in the energy to do that, and now it's whatever you receive back is what you receive back. If it happens to be nothing, then it's nothing. If they give you a response and decline, at least you've got a permanent, hey, that's a decline, can't do much else about that. But then maybe one day they'll be like, sure, let's call up on, give me your phone number, or on Skype, or, Skype back in the day, now it's like Zoom and whatever. And you just get that. And, if he was still around, I would definitely have asked him, did he have to pay people for that kind of stuff? Because he would have a backlog of interviews just there, and occasionally a Blu-ray label would do a particular Blu-ray on this, and he'd be like, hey, I have an interview with this person. Or they would ask him, hey, do you have an interview with this person? They're like, yeah, I've got this interview. Here's a snippet of an interview that's from a bigger interview, and you can use it on your Blu-ray release. So it's like, that's just the kind of stuff he would do. And I'm like, I kind of want to do that. But then I got to reach out and talk to people. I'm like, fuck, damn it, that's the hard part. That's the part I haven't mastered yet. I'll message people on Facebook and they just won't respond. And it's just like, great. And these are people I'm friends with, who I know, who I talk to frequently. There's the Blu-ray reviews. That's what I like doing a lot of, especially because it allows me to watch a Blu-ray, talk about it, video and audio, but realistically I'm mostly there to look at the special features and to look at the overall product. I like doing that. That does well as well. That some of those videos won't do well initially, and they'll grow over time. Those ones can grow over time, because you can look at that as a historical piece. Oh, hey, this guy did a Blu-ray review of this Blu-ray, and there's a new 4K out. Let's see what he says about that Blu-ray. And there, you can say whatever it is about it. I can define every single detail of the fucking Blu-ray, and at least you can have a comparison to what you're about to get. Or if it happens to be, I have a comparison myself. I've got a Criterion and then a BFI release. Let's do a comparison, The other one would be video essays or short films, but that involves writing and producing stuff, and my god, that would be tiresome. I don't have the time for that. I'm busy. I've got 4 jobs. Okay, I've got 2 jobs, and the Cinemaniacs, and this. But yeah, so to look back at where I've come from and where I'm at now, which is the point of this very long video of me rambling for such a long period of time, thanks for sticking around, that's the point of the montage video, is to give you a glimpse of every little thing I've gone through over the past 10 years. I've developed a lot in what I do. I've changed a lot as a person. Life has had its woes, but life has also had its highs. And I don't know how much of my current life I can attribute to this channel, but this channel has helped me get to places I wouldn't expect to go. I've met so many people who watch my videos, and I've become friends with them. I think realistically I'm a bigger part of the Cinemaniacs because of this. I would do videos talking about them. I would interview, I did my interview with Lee, my interview with Caitlin and John, both of whom are also Cinemaniacs board members. My What is the Cinemaniacs video was an interview with Hyundai. And it's just, it was such a big thing. And clearly I've gained a huge audience because of that from friends on Facebook and stuff and whatever, and other Cinemaniacs goers who know of the Cinemaniacs because of me, and who know me because of the Cinemaniacs. So it's a really interesting back and forth that after all these years, that's kind of the payoff. Is not, I have a billion, kajillion subscribers. No, I've got 2,000. It doesn't matter. It's just an arbitrary number. Does it give me the same amount of views? No, it doesn't fucking mean shit unless people watch the videos, most of whom aren't subscribed. Am I constantly berating you with, hey, by the way, this is the statistics of how many people aren't subscribed? I don't give a fuck. If you aren't subscribed, you aren't subscribed. Who gives a shit? Most of the internet are not going to be subscribed to my fucking channel. I don't care. I've lived with that this whole entire time, with 10 years of this shit. I'm like, I know most of the people aren't going to be fucking subscribed, and I don't care. Because it's just, there's not much I can do about it. I'm not going to try to beg and chew away for views and whatever, and be like, I'm going to do giveaways every video. I don't care. I don't know how much I even give a shit about this channel, but you know I give a shit because I keep making videos. If I stop making videos, it's because I don't care anymore. I've given up. I'm like, well, not even given up. I'm just like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm done, you know? And every once in a while, usually on a Monday, I will wake up and have that inclination. For hours on end, I will just dwell in, oh my god, I gotta do more fucking bullshit of YouTube and then everything else. But that's just because I'm at my day job, and my day job makes my brain go, ugh. So I just kind of gotta live with that. That's my own problem. In the end all be all, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around, subscribing, liking, disliking, commenting, whatever you do, I appreciate it. Even the dislikes. Fuck it. I don't know what you're disliking, but people dislike things anyway, so who fucking cares? Most of them are just Blu-ray hauls. I'm like, what about this do you not like? I don't understand. You know? Am I aiming to make politically motivated videos, stuff that'll get the weird psychopaths to start commenting and disliking? No. I want to stay in my little nook and cranny. The less famous I am, the better. Because I don't need that shit. If I suddenly start booming and have 20 to 30,000 subscribers, I'm like, okay, what have I done wrong? And where do I stop? You know, like, am I going to grow and be a huge channel like someone like, Elliot Cohen or Films at Home or Mid-Level Media, you know, other bigger YouTubers who do physical media videos? Am I going to be like them? No. I don't have the time to put in the day-to-day effort of filming and editing because I want to enjoy life. I don't want to just be standing here in front of a camera in a room by myself, not enjoying life. You know, if I was choosing this instead of going to the Cinemaniacs, if I was doing this instead of just going out with friends or just being with my partner, I wouldn't have a good life. You know, I wouldn't be happy. I'm happier because of everything outside of YouTube, you know, except for my day job. But my day job gives me money, so I'm like, fuck it. And I like my colleagues, they're nice. So, yeah, it's just, I think one of the benefits I've had is almost incidental, and that's mostly my thing with this whole channel, is it's mostly incidental. The fact that I have views, the fact that I have subscribers, the fact that I have an audience, but also the fact that I can only film at certain times. You know, I can edit whenever, but I can only film when the house is preferably alone and, like, empty, and I have the time to myself to do something like this. And sometimes I'll have those days where I'll be like, shit, no one's home. I've got at least 2 hours or something. I could film something, or I could watch a film. And I usually choose the film, because I like watching movies. So, yeah. I appreciate the people who do stick around and watch, because how could I not? You know, I joke about the ego stuff, but I'm never self-entitled with this kind of stuff. Like, people will contribute their own personal time to watching me talk about shit, which is great. That's all YouTube is. It's me making videos and you watch them. And that's all I can get out of it in the end, you know? And it's just nice that people will stick around, you know? There's the stuff I love doing that I don't do as much of that I could and should do more of, and I don't. For years I was thinking I'd do more short films, but then I kept making videos like this, and then eventually I stopped making short films and I just kept making videos like this. Sure, my forte was physical media and talking about that, and that's what people like to watch, and that's great. And I don't regret that I don't make short films anymore, but at the same time, I always have that itching feeling. And that's why I like that episode of The Mindless Show so much. You know, an episode of just me and a couple high school friends and even my brothers for the weird dream sequence stuff. Just, it gives me something to reflect on and be like, that was fun. I love watching that. I love that I was able to make that. I don't know if I could make that again. I probably could, with better filmmakers and actors and people who actually know how to act. But it just had exactly what I wanted in that one video. If you just don't think about the part where I'm hypnotized or the part where we're trying to make an omelette. If you just ignore all that stuff, the rest of it's great. So, yeah. I'm happy with the fact that I've had this channel, because the end all be all, I have so much documented that I never would have done had I have not got this camera. You know, if I hadn't have started filming for video game Let's Plays on 8-bit machine and doing, you know, playing video games with friends or playing old video games, and that was my niche there, old video games, like emulated arcade games or whatever the shit, and I was not great at any of them, and yet I still persisted, and then eventually just stopped because I didn't care anymore, and then I had this, and it was making films and doing radio dramas and podcasts, and eventually talking about physical media and interviewing people and interviewing friends and family. I have interviews with my grandparents. My fucking grandfather's dead now. I have all this footage because I was doing these interviews. You know, another reason why I love that show is because I just had that. The title is stupid, That Interview Show. It was a direct contrast to The Mindless Show, which was mindless. It was just me and my mates chatting like a regular... It was just a regular podcast, now that I think about it. But that interview show was an actual professional, at least in design, me writing a bunch of questions, interviewing a person, chatting with them for 45 minutes to 2 hours. So I've had a lot of luxury in that kind of stuff. If there's any great takeaway from this channel, it's that one episode of The Mindless Show, the 2 films that I really like, and the interviews. Because the interviews I can always look back on and enjoy that I have them as captured footage. You know, so yeah. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out that montage video, and hopefully this gives you some more context. If I remember to actually link down the original videos in that video, don't watch them. It's not going to be worth your time. Maybe that one episode of The Mindless Show, but you're just going to be seeing me as like an 18-year-old kid just fucking around with friends. So, but we try to do something nice with it. So hopefully. I don't know. Anyway, it's been a long 10 years. It's crazy that it's been 10 years. And I'm in a better place after these 10 years, despite a lot of things. So, yeah. If I didn't have YouTube back then, if I wasn't making videos, I wouldn't be what I am now. And that's very, very obvious. So as much as I don't want to have it be my defining trait, fucking hell, it's one of them. So, he collects physical media, but he also does a YouTube channel. That's the problem with being called a YouTuber. I'm doing this, talking about this stuff, which is what we like, but the classification of YouTuber is like bottom of the barrel, worthless shit. And I say that as someone who has 2 actual jobs that are actually benefiting things and people, and entertaining more people, because I film live streams of sport. And that gets a lot of views. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. Adios.